Hello everyone, it's Mel here. It's Monday and I'm already dressed to go to Pilates very soon. As I said in my video about my May goals, I'm doing Pilates twice a week now in person. And in order for me to go, I have to be in the clothes. So whilst it's now, 4-ish and Pilates is not until 7-ish, I have to already be dressed in the clothes because otherwise I might not go. So there you go. You can only see my Pilates t-shirt, which is not a Pilates t-shirt. It's just a t-shirt that I happen to wear to Pilates every week. So today I have a stack of books here that I got out from the library, and they're all crafting books, and I want to share them with you. Now, I have done a similar video on my YouTube channel that I did ages ago before, and someone back then asked me how lucky I was that I could just walk into my library and just find all these kind of books. But here's the thing, my library is part of, like a chain, so there's, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 libraries in my area. They're all part of the council libraries. And, in my local library, none of these books would have been on the shelf. I have developed a system of how I browse the catalogue of our library and also the one in Birmingham because I'm a member there as well, and how I reserve books. Now, my library has, you can sort of filter things. It's advanced search. So I go to most recently published, sort of like I give myself a span of 2 years. So I get only the new books or the newer books. Because sometimes, especially, some craft books don't date, but some things do date within craft books, if you see what I mean. And also in general, in these kind of like, you just want to have fresher things, fresher ideas, right? And also then I can filter non-fiction and I can be very specific. I filter it down till I get to that category that I want. And then I order them to be delivered to my library and then I pick them up. And then I have a huge stack of books and I'm happy. And I prefer borrowing these kind of books from the library because I never had any knitting, crochet, whatever book ever that I've used regularly enough in order for me to warrant to own them, if you see what I mean. I usually, like do a thing, or quite often I flick through one and I say, nah, this is actually not at all for me. Imagine if I would have bought it, like this one is £15. So imagine you buy this and it's £15 and then you're like, yeah, actually, there's not really much in it. And there's also not much resale value in those. Just to prove my point, I went through some of them on like those kind of sales pages where you can sell them, like Sifit or whatever, where you can resell books. And quite a few of those, they actually don't take. And the ones they do take, the most you would get is £1.50. So yeah. So library all the way. So this is the first book that I got out. It's Modern Crochet Style. It's by Lindsey Newns, and I really like quite a few things in here. She sort of takes an approach. Oops, there's a subscription thingy in here. She sort of takes an approach. Let me just find that. It's always interesting how they sort of go through, the entire thing. So she goes through seasonally, like spring. So she goes through it seasonally. So you have spring, like scrunchies and, like those crochet scrunchies at the moment. Not sure if you've seen, there's a website, like a designer website that sells a crochet scrunchie for £250. I'm not joking, I was like, I can make them. And gingham backs, wall hangings, textured cloths, like I like to make them anyway. Then eye mask, loopy cushion, tassel basket, placemats, bath mat, duffel bag, scarf, hats, cowls, things like that, that you would expect. you know, kind of in a crochet book to be. I think these scrunchies are really cute, and you could make them obviously in any kind of combination. I don't think you need instructions for that, but it's a good idea. And I like how she does it, because I thought that was so clever, because obviously you can just crochet right around the elastic, and I thought that was very clever. So I like that. And I also really liked, hang on, let me just find it. I really liked this kind of scarf, you know, not the exact same, but I was like, oh yeah, you could crochet squares of any description and then, you know, make almost like a blanket scarf out of it. So yeah, was great to have the ideas, you know, like, you know, got 2 ideas out of it, but I'm not going to use any actual pattern out of this. So this is going to go back to the library when I next go down. The next book is, if you're a craft book borrower from the library, the name Debbie Shore will be, you know, like in the UK. I don't know actually if Debbie Shore is British or if she is, you know, like American. I do not know, but she writes a lot of the fat quarter type sewing books and crafting books, but mostly centered around sewing. And this is obviously one that is centered around sewing. So this is Sue Eco-Friendly 25 Reusable Projects for Sustainable Sewing. And there is, as you can see here, a whole host of things here that you can make. I shall read them out. You can make makeup remover bag, wax sandwich wrap, wax snack pouch, bath sponges, a hemp tote bag that you can dye yourself. She dyes the hemp herself. Baby wipe bag, bottle bag, although baby wipes are obviously not very eco-friendly. Stocking gift bags, I thought they were really cute. I'm going to show you in a minute. Grocery bags, plant covers, fabric gift wrap, gift cube, gift bags, repair kit, bowl covers, apron, baby wipes, station kind of thing, fold away bag, cork lunch bag, and a cutlery roll. But page 40, I thought these little stocking gift bags, they're really cute. And I like how they have like a little thing where you can then tie it shut. And I think I might make them. I think that's a nice idea. I don't have a huge Christmas gift list. I might just do, you know, like, you know, we only give gifts within the family, like Anthony, my kid, and I. But we usually make some foodie items to gift away. And I think it might be quite cute to put like a jar of jam in there and give it to a neighbor or something. And it's good also because you can use fabric leftovers, and they don't even need to be Christmassy because it's a stocking, and the stocking implies a Christmas use. So any fabric almost, you know, I'm saying that, you know, like obviously not Easter bunnies, you know, something like that, but any fabric really can become a Christmassy fabric because of it. And then the other thing that I really liked was this apron shape. I wanted to make one of those for ages, and it sort of reminded me to make this kind of that you can just pull over your head. And I quite like the idea of potentially making a quilted apron, because obviously you always have a lot of leftovers. And by quilted, I don't mean like putting batting in, just, you know, quilted in the sense of having lots, like a patchwork on the front, and you know, and then having some sort of backing, you know, that is maybe plain to use, will give it more structure as well. But I like that, and I really do. I would like an apron like that rather than an apron you have to tie, because I feel it's more like a garment. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this for a bit longer. and I'm gonna attempt the stockings in there. I don't care that it's summer or spring, but I like the idea of that and I want to give it a go. So I don't forget, because otherwise I will return the book and by Christmas I will have forgotten. But if I make one now, sort of like as a proof of concept, I will remember. Then this is a really lovely book. It's called Hello Hexie. It's by Sarah Shrimpton and it's 20 easy crochet patterns from simple granny hexagons. Obviously everyone knows the granny square. It's the same principle but just as a hexagon, and obviously there's lots of ways of creating hexagonal shapes in crochet, but you know, the granny square type is probably the easiest to do. She goes through, I really like that, she has like lots of different kind of ways of coming to the hexie. You know, like lots of different kinds of ways. I know the hexie really well because like my grandmother's doily patterns used to always be based on a hexagonal initial shape before they spread out. So she would make these ginormous table runners or tablecloths, and they would start out with a hexagonal shape and then grow from there. And you can, because of the, you know, it's better than, let's say, just a circle, because with a circle you will usually always end up with a big circle unless you square it off at one point. But that might look weird. Whereas with a hexagonal shape, you can almost go in any kind of form at some point and it will look good. So even if you start with a hexagonal, but you want to make a rectangle out of it, it works much better than if you were to start with a circle. Lecturing here, but you know, I just really like that. And I like these sunburst hexies. And yeah. But yeah, this is a very kind of like, reminds me a lot of my grandmother. She calls it a flower hexie. This is a very typical base kind of thing that my grandmother would have done for her doilies or tablecloths. So there's loads of those in here. And then she goes into projects of what you can do with them. And my absolute favorite is this blanket. I mean, just look at it. I really would love to give this a go. I have way too many projects on the go at the moment to even contemplate that. You know, and it's just like, and you need about 10, 13, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So yeah, nearly 30 balls of yarn. So it's also quite a lot of storage, you know, and I have projects on the go. So I can't make that right now. I love the diagram she's doing as well. I have to say, this, I mean, obviously I haven't crocheted anything from it, so I don't know how accurate and good and well described her patterns are. But I just love this so much. So yeah. So because I don't really have, I mean, I love this t-shirt. Literally, there's nothing really in here that I don't love. Love this kind of shrug, you know, as well. I just really like all the ideas in here. But I don't have like the time to make anything bigger, because I have other things to do or other projects on the go. And, you know, so I don't really want to do that. But what I thought is like, what I want to do is to try out how good the thing is. I have some wool, with quite a significant bit left. And I might just do a few of those kind of squares to see how well she describes her patterns. And if I really like that, then I might put this book in my notebook to remind myself to borrow it again when I have more time. And I might also look on Ravelry if her projects are on there. I'm sure they are, and put them to my queue, because I'm just in love with this blanket and I really want to make that at one point. I don't really need blankets for myself anymore. I have plenty of blankets, but I know who I would make this blanket for. And you know, so yeah, I think that is one. So I'm going to keep this for a bit longer, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna go on Ravelry with the book and bookmark all the patterns to my to-dos. Then this is a really cute one as well, the sustainable knitting for beginners and beyond. Whilst I'm not a knitting beginner, I always like a beginner book, because quite often you know, like books are incredibly, you know, like everyone wants to do really difficult and, you know, like hard stuff and, you know, intricate and things like that. But sometimes you want to have a knitting project where you don't need to think a lot. I certainly do. I mean, I'm not in the mood for anything really too complicated at the moment at all. And, you know, and I like that she has things in here that I wouldn't think of making and that I might actually not make. Like, I don't want to have a knitted kitchen towel. You know, I do use crochet washcloths, you know, both for washing up and for in the bathroom as well as face cloths. But I can't see using one of those type to dry dishes. So I don't think that would work for me. But then she has made these cute little hanging organizers. And I always think, yeah, you know, that might be a cute thing to do at some point. You know, these little cute hanging organizers. And the thing that I would use them for is, you know, I've been wanting to do that for ages actually. I wanted to make one of those or two of those to store the onions in, because onions, potatoes and garlic, although I have a garlic pot, you know, like, but onions in particular, they do like being in a fabric bag. They'll probably last the longest in there. So it would be quite cute to hang in the pantry, you know, and have the onions in there. I think that might be quite cute. Would have to have a bit of a lining at the bottom, because otherwise, obviously, yeah, I have to think about it. But yeah, but I will return it. There was nothing really in here. What is she called? Doesn't really say. Doesn't really have an author. Yeah, doesn't really say much in here that I found like super inspiring or anything. But yeah, so this would have been £16. So I'm glad, you know, that I didn't get that. So that's already, with the two, that's like a £30 I would have spent potentially and not done anything with it. Then Sewing Stashbusters by Kate Haxell, 25 great ways to use up your fabric leftovers. If you're a sewer, you will always have fabric leftovers, and you will always be on the lookout for things that you can do with them. And I have to say, like, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, oh yeah, you can make a pillow, you can make a patchwork, you know, but I just sometimes need a visual reminder of the things you could do. And there's a couple of things in here that I found really quite interesting. And one of them is this picnic blanket. I'm not sure how well you can see, but she incorporated crocheted granny squares into it. And then she had a backing, and she talks a lot about what backings you could use. You could use an old like plastic tablecloth, you know, like the ones, the PVC ones that you have, the wipeable, you know, ones, or you can have, you know, old sheets or whatever. But I just really like that she used old fabric pieces in various sizes and crochet granny squares. I just love that combination. And yeah, so oilcloth, that's the word that I was looking for, oilcloth. And you know, but I really like that, you know, and I think that is such a cute idea. I also she, you know, she has like everything, like from, you know, doorstops to draft excluders, obviously, but she's also made like a Peter Pan collar, 59. I mean, I'm not that kind of, I also love this apron. I mean, how cute is that, right? I love that. I have to really get in the habit of wearing aprons because I'm forever making mine mucky. But look how cute that collar is. Now, I'm not the person to wear things like that. But if you are, you know, it's so cute, and you don't need that much of fabric for it. You could even patchwork it, you know. So yeah, I like that. But having said that, there's nothing really in here that sort of I didn't know or did, you know, like, you know, I wouldn't do anything out of it. And then last but not least, I have an older version. I had an older version of this book out from the Birmingham Library, but the newer version is available at my local library. And so I ordered it, and it is basically just what it says. It's a library of embroidery stitches. It goes through history, and you know, various ways of how people use embroidery, like be it, you know, for, you know, mindful stitching to, you know, like having things that are templated. But you can see it has all the embroidery stitches, and then it says underneath where the instructions for them are. So there's absolutely tons in here, and I always like a Dorling Kindersley book. I mean, you know, I could just go on. It just is so many pages. It's just like at least 12 pages of embroidery stitches, and then it has really, really good instructions. I think because I used the older version before, I've learned a lot about embroidery through it already. Whilst I'm still not really great at it, I'm definitely learning and improving. And yeah, and this is one of those kind of books where I think this would be good to own. So this one costs $14.99, and I think I might put that on my Christmas wish list, because, you know, my husband always says, oh, what do you want? And this is a book that I would like to own at some point. There's no rush, because I can probably renew this a couple of times and use it for a while. And but at some point I would like to have that. So yeah, that's it from me. And I, you know, hope you like this kind of video. I certainly like talking about it. And I shall speak to you all very soon. Bye bye.